Hi, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Cindy, and today I'm going to be making some bagels. Bagels are a little more complicated, maybe, than making a cake or pie, but they're worth it because they're so yummy. This is a class that I took at King Arthur. It was an online class, actually. And so the recipe is from King Arthur. So let's take a look at it. Now, these are pre-fermented bagels, which means that the night before you make something called a poolish. 153 grams of water, 153 grams of high gluten flour, and a pinch of yeast. And a pinch is like a 16th of a teaspoon, a quarter of a fourth, a half of an eighth, whatever you got. High gluten flour because bagels are chewy, are really solid. They're not soft like a pastry or some kinds of sweet bread. And then I did that last night. And now today I'm going to be making the dough, which is 142 grams of water, 357 grams of, again, high gluten flour, 12 grams of salt, 5 grams of instant yeast, and the poolish from last night, which is another name for the pre-ferment. So let's take a look at that poolish. It was started about 14 hours ago, I'd say. And as you can see, it's got some nice bubbles. It's thickened up considerably. So it's ready to go in the dough for the bagels. So let's start by putting my mixing bowl on my kitchen scale. And the kitchen scale is going to be measuring in grams. So I'm going to turn it on and make sure the unit is set to grams. It is. And now I'm going to add my flour first. And this is specifically high gluten flour. Yes, it's King Arthur brand. They call it Sir Lancelot for some reason. Okay, so I need 357. So I'm going to scoop, fluff a little bit, scoop, keeping an eye on the scale so that I don't go over the grams. I can start out with a little more of a spooning in action until I'm getting close to, okay, there's 310, so now 330, 345, 356, 357 on the button. Now I'm going to add my water, and my scale is nice. I have the ability to zero it out, and I need 142 grams of water, so I'm going to press the 0 button and slowly pour in some water. And there's 100, 141, 141.8. I'm happy with that. Now I need 12 grams of salt, and I like to use sea salt. 12 grams. Salt weighs so little that it's amazing how much you need to get, 12 grams or 18 grams or whatever. Oh, so first I'm going to zero this out again. There. Now I'm going to look for 12. See, the beauty of this is I'm not getting any measuring cups dirty, not getting any measuring spoons dirty. I've got one bowl, and since I can put it on the scale, all right, there's 11 and a half, there's 12 on the button. Now, I also need malt. Did I mention that when I read the recipe? I can't remember. Diastatic malt. Diastatic malt or if you have barley malt syrup, that's perfectly fine. It adds to the color. It gives it a little bit more of a rich color, and it also helps the yeast develop. And I need 21 grams of diastatic malt. So I'm using the malt powder. 0. There. 21. There's 3. There's 9. 14. 17. Oops. All right, 22. Went over a gram, but we're certainly not going to sweat that. And then the last thing we need is instant yeast. So, got my lovely big jar of instant yeast. I know it's instant yeast because I labeled it. And I need 5 grams. So, 0. Come on. There. 5. 1.5. 3. 5.2. Also good. Okay, so we've got all our dry ingredients added, and now I'm going to add the Polish from last night. And I'm going to take my bowl scraper and just scrape this thing right into my big mixing bowl. Nothing to it. Comes out nice because it's soft. All right. Now we're going to put the mixing bowl on the KitchenAid with the dough hook. Remember, we're not making a cake. We're not trying to make it soft and tender. We're making bagels. And they're firm and chewy. So we're going to put on the dough hook. Maybe. Yes. And raise it up. Now we're going to mix this. We're going to start out low and then go to a higher speed for several minutes. So as I usually do, I'm going to turn the camera off so that you don't have to be dealing with the sound of the mixer, okay? But I'll be back, so stay tuned. Okay, we finished the mixing. We started out for a couple minutes on the lowest speed, and then we kicked it up 1 or 2 notches so that it would knead with the dough hook for close to 10 minutes, though to tell the truth, it was more like 8 minutes. So anyway, this is what it looks like now. It's a nice, soft, firm ball. It's not too sticky, but it's beautiful and it's ready to rise. Now, my choices for rising are I leave it in this bowl, and I put this cover on it when I take it to the warming mat, or I move it into a dough bucket. The benefit of the dough bucket is you can see it while it's rising. You can see how it's doing, but it's also one more thing to wash. So I'm going to opt to keep it in the bowl. It goes on the mat for an hour and a half. So we are going to stop recording at this point, and we'll be back in 90 minutes or so to show you how we finished these beautiful bagels. Okay, come back. Hello, everybody. The rising time is done, 90 minutes. And as you can see, I changed my mind and transferred to a dough bucket so I could see how it looks while it was rising. And it looks good. Let's take it out. nice and soft, but yet firm. So I'm gonna put it on my, maybe I'm gonna put it on my breadboard. I'm gonna get a dough scraper out, get it out of the bucket. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be separating this into 8 pieces because this recipe makes 8 bagels. Come on, out of the bucket. It's the beautiful thing about bowl scrapers. All right. So the first thing I like to do is I like to weigh the dough. And I actually try to cut it into 8 even sections so that each bagel's the same size. This is 837 grams. So that's like 104, maybe a tiny bit more grams per bagel. All right, so I'm going to flour my hands just a smidge. You're not supposed to put any flour down on the board, but I like to flour my hands a little bit and move the dough out into a rectangle so that I can cut 8 sections. So I'll take my bench knife and cut it in half, and then I'll start weighing each piece that I cut, and that one is 113, which is just a smidge more than it should be. All right, 109, that's fine. That one's way too much. 110. 103. 107. 'Can't get this one. I keep putting on bits and bits trying to get it. All right. 100. We'll leave that one there. That's 5. 130. Take some away. 109. Just take away a smidge. 107. Good enough. 105. And the last piece is 94. Wow. One of these was pretty heavy. Which was it? That one? Yeah. There we go. You know, they're not exactly the same, but that's okay. So now I'm going to roll each section, and I'll cover the ones, and I'm going to roll them into shape so that they look like bagels. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to bring it together, and you want it to be about 8 inches long. You're making like a tube that's 8 inches long. And then once you've got your tube, you wrap it around your hand, squeeze the two ends together, and you've got what's going to be a bagel. Now another way to do this is to flatten it out into a rectangle. And then bit by bit, roll it up, press it down, roll it up, press it down, roll it up, press it down, roll it up. That's the King Arthur method that they taught me in the video class. And I don't know if there's a benefit, but if they're teaching me that in the video class, I figure they must have a good reason to do it that way. So let's do it that way. All right, so stretch it out to about 8 inches, bring it around, squeeze the two ends together, roll it so that the two ends are nice and tight together. Now when you see videos in the store or in the class, they're like perfect even circles with the same amount of dough all the way around. Well, mine don't necessarily end up like that. The spot where I join them together is usually skinnier. All right, so we're going to flatten it out into a rectangle. And then starting at the end, roll it up, press it, roll it, press it, roll it, press, roll it, press, and then stretch, 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 stretch. Try to get it to be about 8 inches long. This one needs to stretch more. Wrap it around your hand, join the ends together, roll them so that they've got a nice connection. You want a nice big hole in the middle because it's going to rise one more time, and the hole could end up getting filled in. So it doesn't look like a bagel unless there's a hole in the middle. All right, another rectangle, roll it, push, roll it, push. All right, now stretch. It's nice to have the same amount of thickness all around the bagel, but it doesn't taste any different if you don't. It's still good. So stretch, stretch, stretch. Wrap it around your hand. Squeeze the two ends. Roll the two ends together. And put it on a baking sheet. I have a baking sheet with some parchment paper, and they're going to sit on this, and they're actually going to go through another rise, another fermentation. So, you know, nothing's done quickly. Everything takes time. All right, make my triangle, roll, press, roll and press, roll and press. So I guess you get the general idea of what I'm doing. So I'm going to finish the bagels. I'm going to finish rolling them and squeezing them together. And then I'm going to cover them with this nice linen cloth and let them rise for another 45 minutes. So I'm going to finish what I'm doing, and after the rising time, the second fermentation time, we'll come back and we'll talk about boiling them and baking them. Okay, so don't go away. I'll be right back. Hi, we're back after letting the bagels rise for about 45 minutes. It might have been closer to 48. And here's what they look like. They're beautiful, and they're ready to go into a hot water bath. So that's how you fix bagels. You boil them and then you bake them. So I've got a timer running because each bagel gets boiled for not very long, 40 seconds. And then the oven is preheating to 475, so they're going to go into a pretty hot oven. So I scoop the little beauties onto my spatula. I do two at a time, so I get one and then I get the second one ready. There's one, and there's two. Now I check the timer and give it about 40 seconds, and after 20 seconds I flip it over. The water should be nice and bubbly. Make sure you're boiling away. All right, flip, flip. Another 20 seconds. All right, now they're going to go onto this baking sheet that I have prepared with parchment paper. And two more are going in. All right. Keep an eye on the timer. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. Flip, flip. If you don't have this kind of a big wide slotted spoon, you could use like a pancake turner kind of thing. You just want something with slots. Okay, so our 40 seconds are up. Let's go over on the next tray. And let's do two more. One, two. Look at the timer so I know when 40 seconds are up. Meanwhile, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of this everything bagel seasonings on top. You can buy this all kinds of places. There. Okay. Flip, flip. Ten more seconds. And they'll be ready to come out. Okay. It's interesting, isn't it, how bagels get boiled and baked, but that's what makes them so darn chewy and good. And then the last two. Come on. All right, watch for my timer. And that would be Greta in the background giving her opinion on life, as she likes to do. Flip and flip. And time is up. So I'm going to put the topping on the last 2 bagels, and then they're going to get put into the oven for about 15 to 18 minutes, and they'll be a beautiful brown color and ready to go. So we'll check back with you then. I have to correct myself. The baking time is 18 to 21 minutes. So these were in for 19 minutes. And they look really brown, don't they? They're supposed to be brown, but I don't know. I think I should have maybe done 17 or 18 minutes. But they're going to taste good. Nice butter or schmear bagels. Gotta love them. So that's our bagel story for today. Thanks for hanging out with me in Cindy's Bitchin' Kitchen. Bye.